you lovely lot. Firstly, I just want to thank you all so much for all your kind words and messages and comments that you send me. It really does mean so much to me. It really makes me feel warm inside. It's so nice because doing these videos are so scary. I've never done anything like this in my life. This is proper learning on the job, about as organic as it gets. But it doesn't matter, does it, what the video looks like or what I look like? It's the contents that matters. Because these videos are pretty scary, you know. But I'm so passionate about sharing with you all the things that I've learned and done. And most people do these videos once they're financially secure, and then they tell you how they've done it. And then you sit there and think, oh, it's all right for you telling me how to do this and meditate and self-love and all that when you're living in your nice big house and you don't have to work and got 5 kids, 4 dogs and running a house and stuff at the same time. So I wanted to do it a little bit different and show you that it costs nothing to find your happiness. And maybe if you find your happiness, you can manifest it into this real world, this life that we're living. Basically practicing what I preach for the last 30 years. Because I don't, you know what, it really does just start with self-love. Not with loving yourself, that's an egotistic kind of side. Loving yourself, it comes from within. It's like a feeling inside you that we need to open up again and start like feeling it and noticing it, really, because once you've mastered this, then you have all the tools to cope with what any life brings you, anything that life gives you, and it helps you find your happiness, gives you the confidence and the courage to just go for things and not to worry or think or let that ego side come in and go, oh, you can't do that, or you shouldn't be doing this, or you're not good enough for that, and just go with it. Because along the way, we've just lost this. And until we master this ourselves, how the hell are we going to pass this on to our future generations, right? Because it's just impossible. And yeah, like along the way, we haven't been taught this. We've been taught to not program this side of us in our brains, in our subconsciousness. And we really need this for our existence, for this life. Because the good thing is that we're all capable of doing this. We can all do this. The only downside is that you have to do it yourself. And this is a problem as parents, is that when you feel that you've given your kids everything, all the love that you could ever have for, more love than you ever had, and all the money or never wanted for stuff, but yet they're still unhappy and they're still not happy in their lives, and you think, God, where am I going wrong? What have I done? And you feel like you're a failure, but you've done nothing wrong. It's nothing to do with you, because this love and this self-love comes from literally within, and we have to reprogram this back in our brains. Yeah, because since we've mastered this, mine and Matthew's lives has just changed completely. Yeah, it's just changed upside down, and it's just amazing. And it all started really when Matthew first come back into my life. He'd been doing his own self-healing work. He'd been a DJ for 30 years and following Arsenal around wherever they was. And when they was in Europe, he used to go there as well. So you could imagine the lifestyle that he led. And yeah, and what he was doing wasn't really very good, and took his toll on his personal life and his health. And gave him a little bit of a scare. So he had to reevaluate his life, and he went and bought himself a boat and took himself away from everyone and everything, and basically rebuilt himself back again. Absolutely amazing. His stories he has to tell are absolutely incredible. I certainly couldn't have gone through them, but I do believe as well the universe only gives us what we can cope with. That's why we always sort of say, God, I couldn't cope with that, or I couldn't cope with that, or how did they do that? You was never meant to cope with that anyway. We only get given what we can cope with, and our lessons or our learning or our journey, I don't know, whatever you want to sort of call it anyway. But yeah, he was doing his own. He was like Stig of the Dump when I met him. Proper caveman he was, very back to basics. And we just clicked and it worked, and we went off and lived on his boat because it's through lockdown as well, and we wanted to go to this place called Blissful Tunnel. So we headed off up there, which was sort of 40 minutes drive away, but hours and days in a canal boat. But we just kept floating along, and it was just so lovely. But every day we had to keep coming back had to go to work. So we used to get up at 5 in the morning, watch the sun come up, and And yeah, and just drive back here. And we always just wished, wouldn't it be lovely if we could just live with nature the whole time. We didn't have a telly. Neither of us watched telly for a good few years before that anyway. So we just literally indulged ourselves living with nature and the birds, and just living a really organic life as we can. And yeah, but we had to come to work. Obviously, we had to have food and stuff. Matthew wasn't working a lot at that time. So we was like, how can we do this? How can we live our little life, our organic life on the boat, and just keep going and going? And so Matthew started getting a little bit of work, but we was like, but we still had to keep coming back to Watford and London where the work was. So we was like, how can we do this? So we thought about, let's do selling. Let's sell some stuff on the boat. Let's buy some. And I was like, I've been to Thailand and Singapore and Malaysia and stuff, and they do all lovely wooden carvings there, and I've got so many contacts that I've kept along the way. Maybe we can go and buy stuff from there and bring it back and sell it. So that's what we was going to do. And then all of a sudden I remember doing these organic products that we used to do, because we wanted to keep it as organic as we could and sell off the boat and do boot sales. And then Wells Goods come along, and I'm not going to bore you with Wells Goods, how'd that come along, because that's on our website, wellsgoods.uk. So it's www.wellsgoods.uk, little plug there. But that's our Wells Goods organic products that we ended up making, and they were doing so well. Yeah, and we just carried on just trying to basically find a way to get out of working full time and living this life of like robots, just committed to everything. So we just didn't want to do that. And then things progressed, and then we ended up going to Ibiza, and we met a friend, one of Matthew's old friends, used to be one of his promoters, used to organise all the big party parties. His name was Tracy, and he told us that he was going to a place called Zanzibar with his wife, and his wife was pregnant, and they were going to have a look at some land and maybe go out there. I didn't think nothing of it, and just was like, oh, okay, because me and Matthew had already spoke about going back to Southeast Asia, maybe Vietnam or Thailand, because Thailand I absolutely loved. That was my spiritual home, so I thought I absolutely loved it there. And then he came back and put photos on Facebook. Oh my God, it was absolutely beautiful, stunning, and I was like, Matthew, I want to go there. And Matthew, being so absolutely beautiful, and he's just the most beautifulest man in this world, and will give you the world, said, okay, let's do it. Let's do hard work, and let's book it, and let's go. And we did. And we stayed another week, so it was just amazing. But while we was there, we met some guys that owned a restaurant, and we got really friendly with them. And I just sort of said, and we said, is there land for sale? How does it go and how does it work? And they told us, and he said he had friends that were selling land and sort of told us how much. And mine and Matthew ears pricked up, and we was like, wow, we could afford that. Because we didn't have no outgoings really. We only had my flat. The boat wasn't really an outgoing. We've got no flash car, because we was actually thinking about getting a car, a better car for us, because we was driving quite a lot when we got back. But it was like, if we don't get the car and just keep doing what we're doing and working and not going out and saving every bit and just living really on basics, and saving everything, then maybe we could do this. Anyway, but it was just a thought and a little dream that we kept going home and thinking about. And one day it really rained really badly. And we went back to this restaurant where this family was, and which we got on with, and they'd all got so wet because the rain had come through on their Makuti roof. So Matthew turned around and said, how much would it cost to get you a new roof so you don't get wet and your family don't get wet? So it was all kids and stuff, and they told us, which was £750. And we come back and was like, it's nothing really to what we do. And he said, we can afford to do that. So we went back and he went, we're going to go home and we're going to buy you a new roof. And that's what we did. We come back and we buy them a new roof, and we just, everything we sent, we obviously bought our stuff and sent what we could over to them, and we spoke to them every day from then on really, 5 days a week, 7 days a week, 5 times a day, sorry. They've, him and Matthew have got a proper bromance going, and that leads us up to what happens really today. In July we actually bought the land, and now we've got the land. And it was, yeah, it could be a gamble, but do you know what? It's cost us nothing. The only big thing we had to do, which was a little bit of heart-wrenching, but to move the build on, was to sell the boat, really. But also Matthew, while he's been doing all this, has had a broken back. He's had to have a major operation in April. So his back was taking his toll, chopping the woods and being caveman really. So that was a big factor as well on selling the boat, but also to move on really and to get this project going, because this is not just for us, it's for everybody, but also it's for our boys. Matthew's got two boys, two lovely boys, and I've got my boy, and hopefully this is a legacy for them, something that they can enjoy, because we'll probably only get 20 or 30 years out of it, but our boys will get a lot more, and hopefully our grandkids and their grandkids can enjoy it. Yeah, so next week I just want to tell you now, sort of get to tell you how I understood and why this self-love and this opening up this side of our brain is just so important to finding our happiness, and it really costs nothing. You've just got to be dedicated to it, and want to know there's more out there, because this living in this horrible life is and this scaremongering that we're all scaring with the telly and everything really doesn't have to be. We all just need to go back to basics and find what's really important with us, and then we can pass it on to our generations, and then hopefully the world will become a better place and we can all become nicer people. So yeah, next week, well, I'm not sure if it'll be next week, because these videos, like I say, are pretty scary, and it takes me a while to do it, and my confidence up to do these. So, but hopefully next week, so I'll get a bit better, hopefully, and quicker. But we'll see. Like I say, it's all organically, and I do it when I feel I've got the confidence to do it, really. So yeah, next time, hopefully it'll be next week, and yeah, just tell you a little bit about how I started this, and why it's so important to have all this back in our lives. So you take care, guys, and have a great day and a great week. Sending so much love. Speak to you all soon.